Greetings! This recording covers the lesson on basics of 2D animation. At the end of this lesson, you must have first described the basic concepts in 2D animation, second, identified available 2D animation software, and third, produced a simple 2D animation. Let us start with describing the basic concepts. Animation refers to the process of making an illusion of motion. It is a method of photographing successive drawings, models, or even puppets to create an illusion of movement in a sequence. Animation comes in various types. One is traditional animation. It is also known as hand-drawn, cel, or classical animation. In this type, every frame is hand-drawn for creating an animation image sequence. Another is 2D animation. 2D animation can fall under traditional animation like most early Disney movies such as Pinocchio and Beauty and the Beast. But there is something called vector-based animation that can be 2D without being traditional. The motions are controlled by vectors rather than pixels. Next is computer animation. It is also known as 3D animation. For this type, computer program is used to move the character's body parts around. Another one is motion graphics. These are types of graphic animation that create the illusion of motion, usually for ads and title sequences in films. They are not character-driven or story-driven. The last one is stop motion. This encompasses claymation, pixelation, object motion, and cut-out animation among others. It is a cinematic process used to make real-world objects appear as if they are moving. Moving on to the principles of animation. The following are common 12 principles identified by different authors. First, squash and stretch. Second, anticipation. Third, staging. Fourth, straight ahead and pose-to-pose animation. Fifth, follow through and overlapping action. Sixth, slow in and slow out. Seventh, arcs. Eighth, secondary action. Ninth, timing. 10th, exaggeration. 11th, solid drawing. And 12th, appeal. On squash and stretch. This action is considered the most important of the 12 principles. It gives the illusion of weight, volume, and flexibility to the characters, and also objects, as they move. On anticipation. This principle prepares the audience for a major action the character is about to perform, like starting to run or jumping, and makes the mentioned action appear more realistic. On staging, it is a principle in which the main purpose consists in directing the audience's attention to what is important in a scene, whether that idea is an action, a personality, an expression, or a mood of the characters in the frame. In other words, staging is used to keep focus on what is relevant and avoid unnecessary details. On straight-ahead and pose-to-pose animation. Straight-ahead animation simply means reinventing one drawing after the other. This ensures great spontaneity during animation so that even the animator is pleasantly surprised. Pose-to-pose animation primarily defines the most expressive key frames or extremes, which provide structure to the scene and make it predictable. Once the extremes have been defined, the in-betweens are inserted. On follow-through and overlapping action. These are two concepts that together help to represent movement more realistically. Follow-through consists in avoiding the sudden stoppage of a character and making all other parts of its body continue to move after it has stopped in order to catch up with the rest of the main mass. The main purpose of the overlapping technique is to avoid any robotic effect and give more fluidity to the character's movement. Overlapping action is the tendency for the parts of the body to move at different rates. On slow in and slow out. This technique consists in drawing more frames near the beginning and the end of an action and fewer in the middle. This way, the parts where there are more frames look slower while the action itself faster. It gives the character time to accelerate and slow down and make the animation more realistic. On arcs. Most human and animal actions occur along an arced trajectory. The natural trajectory almost every action follows, the arcs. Animation should reproduce these movements for greater realism. Arcs make animation look more natural and have a better flow. It can be applied to the human figure and animals or simply to thrown objects. This can apply to a limb moving by rotating a joint or a thrown object along a parabolic trajectory. The exception is mechanical movement, which typically moves in straight lines. On secondary action. The secondary action is an animation method in which the main purpose is to supplement and reinforce the main action of a scene. It is important to remember that it has to emphasize and not take attention away from it. On timing. It is one of the animation techniques people learn with experience and personal experimentation. It consists in choosing the number of frames or drawings that are going to be used to animate a scene or an action. On exaggeration. According to Disney animators, exaggerating is remaining true to reality but presenting it in a wilder, more extreme form. However, animators have to use good taste and common sense to keep it from becoming too theatrical and excessively animated. Exaggeration is the effect added to drawings to exaggerate expressions, poses, attitudes, and actions of the characters. The level of exaggeration depends on the comical effect being sought. When exaggerated, animations look more natural than when they are just a perfect imitation of reality. On solid drawing. When talking about it, animators refer it to the application of the basic principles of drawing form, weight, and volume solidity to provide the animations with a much more three-dimensional look. On appeal. The term appeal in animation is the same as charisma when talking about actors. This method consists in making the characters likable and capture and involve the audience's interest. To accomplish that, characters must have an easy-to-read design, clear drawing, and personality development. Creating an animation movie is comprised of three stages: pre-production, production, and post-production. During the pre-production, you make decisions that dictates how the results of the production come together. The following things are finalized: writing the story, production plan, character development, storyboard, creating premises, scene planning, soundtrack, and X sheet. During the production stage, you get to see the actual results. Specifically, this stage includes recording a dialogue, layout designing, background designing, and animating. During the post-production, the following things are done: compositing, digital compositing, computer effects, sound editing, mixing audio-video, and final mixing. What 2D animation software applications are available at this time? The following are few examples only. Harmony, Pencil 2D Animation, Zenfig Studio, May Floresta, Open Tunes. Cell Action, Moho, Stop Motion Studio, Flipbook, and Crazy Talk Animator. Moving on, let's proceed to producing a simple 2D animation. Since not everyone has a computer to use, we could explore our phones to create 2D animation. The following are the things that you need to do. Open the Google Play or App Store. Search for a 2D animation maker. Choose and install an app. Locate and open the app. And create a project. This marks the end of our lesson on Basics of 2D Animation.